Welcome back to today's fifth lesson in our unit on America becoming a world power. This is where the United States, America, joins that fight in World War I. See, at the beginning of World War I, the U.S. was really not ready for this war. Woodrow Wilson didn't want to join it. We hadn't prepared for it. This was a European issue. Things were, settling into a routine in the Western Hemisphere, and we were fine with that. Our nation had only 200,000 troops, and most of those were very untrained. We had not been preparing for a major war with anybody. So we weren't ready. But after this war gets started, and especially once we're gearing up to go to Europe, we draft a bunch of soldiers. Draft is a forced military service. We call up American men and simply say, "You're in the army now." Yeah, you thought you had to sign up for that? Nope. No, you don't have to sign up. You're in the army now. And we drafted soldiers, and our military quickly rose to almost 3 million people. Now, the first ones to be ready, 2 million American men, joined what was called the AEF, the American Expeditionary Force. The American Expeditionary Force is the bulk of American fighters in World War I. And they were sent to France. That's where the fighting was. Remember the Battle of the Marne, right outside of Paris. We got to defend Paris, push back the Germans. So they get sent to France, and they are led by General John J. Pershing. Wilson wanted the AEF, American Expeditionary Force, to be kept as separate as possible from the British and French armies. We weren't there to support the British and French in their effort to win the war. We were there to win the war. This was what Wilson wanted. And in this way, the U.S. would get all of the credit. We wanted that credit for ours. We wanted to be seen as the nation that came in and won World War I. So who was in this AEF? Well, over 50,000 women served. Yeah, we're sending women off to foreign wars. They largely served as nurses and interpreters. You know French? Awesome, we're going to send you to France. Switchboard operators, some of the same jobs they were doing back home. Drivers, and clerical work, that is, typists. So not combat roles. It's going to be a long time before American women are fighting in combat roles, but American women are being sent to foreign wars now. We also have around 400,000 African Americans who are signing up to fight in this war, actively recruited and sent over to Paris to help fight against the Germans. In France, these African American soldiers also experienced a lot less discrimination than they had in the U.S. In the U.S., they were used to segregation, black codes, etc. They're going to realize that, there are nations that don't do that. And when they return to the United States, that's going to be something they bring with them, the sense that it doesn't have to be this bad. A society does not have to be this racist. All right, Americans make a difference. American ships had two great impacts on the war, the U.S. Navy. Number one, we had the convoy system in place. The convoy system was a series of military ships that would surround supply ships and troop ships. We were able to move war materials from U.S. factories and soldiers from U.S. cities over to Europe and defend them with our military ships. So we'd move in great big groups that were harder to attack. Also, Americans mined the North Sea. We put a whole bunch of sea mines, bombs, in the water, which protected Great Britain from German U-boats. So those underwater boats, those submarines that Germany had, they couldn't get to Great Britain anymore. There were too many mines in that sea. We trapped the German U-boats in their harbors and kind of took the German Navy out of the war. Now, American troops, remember 2 million of them, are showing up. The Germans know that this is going to happen. See, they've just knocked Russia out of the war. They knocked Russia out before the U.S. Joined. And now they realize that France is the key. If they can defeat France, if they can capture Paris before the American Expeditionary Force shows up, then they've won. Then they control France. There's nothing left really to fight for. That was the main goal of the Germans' main goal in the war. So they push, and they push hard. to capture Paris. And they again get to 50 miles outside of Paris, that same place that they were at the very beginning of the war. And we have the second Battle of the Marne. Remember, the first Battle of the Marne was that first major defense by France. And we have the second Battle of the Marne, where the French again hold the Germans back. And then the Americans show up. The German advance was halted by the Allies. Second Battle of Marne happens. And soon after, 1 million American soldiers show up. 1 million of them. And these aren't people who've been fighting for 4 years already. These are people who are fresh, rested, strong. They've been eating good food for the last 4 years, which the fighters in World War I had not been. They don't have injuries that they're trying to fight through. They're fresh, they're strong, they're ready to fight. And this is not good for the Germans. For the rest of the war, the Allies advance steadily. For the rest of the war, the Germans are pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. They're tired. They're war-weary. And the Americans are fresh. And the Meuse-Argonne offensive, that's pushing through a forest, the Americans were able to overwhelm the German army and force them out of France entirely. France is now safe. And within a few more months, the eventual victory of the Allies, because of American help, is clear. It becomes very clear shortly after the Americans arrive that Germany cannot win this war. There are a few heroes of note and story and lore from this time. It's kind of fun to look at their stories. We have Sergeant Alvin York, Sergeant York. His religion forbade fighting. He was a Quaker, not allowed to fight. But while he was a driver, I think he was a driver, in his unit, his friends were attacked, and he put aside his religious beliefs, embraced patriotism, and defended his friends, and killed 25 Germans and captured 132 more. It was quite a story. Eddie Rickenbacker, the ace of aces, was the best American pilot in the war. He shoots down 29 enemy planes, including 2, when he single-handedly attacked a squad of 7 German fighters. It was 1 against 7, and Eddie Rickenbacker shot down 2 of those 7. The other 5 left, and our 1 American pilot. Now, do keep in mind, 27 was great. Manfred von Richthofen, who we learned about last time, the Red Baron, shot down 80. So, Rickenbacker wasn't in the war for as long as Red Baron, though. All right, so the war is coming to a close. After the Meuse-Argonne offensive, Germany realizes that they can't win this war. They agree to an armistice, a ceasefire. The fighting would stop. This happened on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. This is November 11th, 1918 at 11 a.m. The fighting stopped. The peace treaty would come later, but World War I was over. This moment is still celebrated throughout Europe. All Europeans, Germans, French, British, they celebrate the fact that the war was finally over because it was such a catastrophe. Over 8.5 million soldiers had died. 8.5 million soldiers! Oh my gosh! 12 million in total because you'd had civilian casualties had died during this war. It was the worst war that the world had seen since the Mongols invaded China. And that's going way back into some medieval history. That was really bad. The Mongols were really bad in China. But other than that, this had not been seen. And when World War II comes around, we're going to realize that things can get a whole lot worse than this. But that is all for today. America joining the fight. America winning. Go us. And I hope you learned something. Farewell.